So hello everyone, it is your girl Gel Beauty 87 here, aka Grace, and today we're gonna get into the, what is this? The Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Universal Unlocked Palette. So this retails, sorry I had it backwards the whole time. This retails for 80 bucks. I asked y'all in the, what is this video? The Surge palette if you want to see this palette, because I had caught it on the deal. As usual, shout out to my girl Amy, aka Beautydealsbff. She found that there was a code at Ulta where you could get this palette, since it's only available at Ulta. They still don't have it at Sephora for $64. So I was like, for $64 I'll try it out, but I wasn't gonna pay the full 80 because I told y'all in this Blend Bunny video I have my reservations about this palette. So there's that, but let's read what it says. It says the Hourglass Ambient Lighting Edit Universe Unlocked is a limited edition palette featuring 2 bestsellers and 3 brand new ambient lighting powder shades, which I told y'all was my problem to begin with. Because if you go read the listing for the new one that they just came out with for holiday, for, you know, their normal stands that they make these palettes for every year. Let me find it. Now theirs is just called Universe. It's not called Unlocked. It says includes 5 shades. And all their shades are new. Yet the shades from this palette are not. If I'm already complaining about me not being exclusive to people who look like me, why would you make all new shades for your stands, and then the people who've been complaining all this time get 2 old shades that they already told your ass doesn't work? Make it make sense. Because it's clearly not making sense, and you clearly not reading the room, or you tone deaf. I don't know what the problem is, but that's my first problem with this palette right here. The fact that I got 2 old shades that you already know doesn't work, or we've already told you doesn't work, and you keep trying to give them to me anyway. But the people who have 50 palettes over with the same shades that already work for them, that buy them every year, can get new shades, but I can't get new shades. So that's my first problem with this palette, and that's my first beef with Hourglass about it right now. So I brought the old one that I have, that if you all remember, Karen Harris and I bought this when it was on sale on Sephora, because they didn't sell out last year, because, you know, people finally getting the picture that they're not going to try to be inclusive anymore. And Samantha Raventhal and a few other YouTubers decided that they weren't going to buy from them anymore, and then it all went downhill. So you were able to actually get this on sale, and a few of their other holiday things on sale. So I brought this to see if any of the colors in here were the same as this, to prove my point about how you haven't learned anything. Because if there's 2 old shades in here, I have a feeling that they're the 2 old shades from this palette or in this palette. But let's read and see. So I'm sorry, the finishing powder I have in this one is Radiant Light instead of Soft Light, but it's still a repeat powder. So read the room. Let's see. The bronzer that's in this one is Gold Bronze Light, and this is Radiant Bronze Light. So I'll swatch them so we can see a comparison difference. And then there's a metallic strobe powder in this one. That's a champagne color, and the strobe powder here is called Solar Strobe Light. So I'm gonna swatch the colors, and then you can get a nice comparison. Oh, when you hit it, see, it goes, because it's like metal instead of this like plastic that they normally use. So I'm gonna swatch the old palette next to the new palette, because I feel like it's not gonna be too much of a difference, but you know, I want you to see there's not too much of a difference. So we're gonna start off with the old palette, and then we'll swatch the new palette next to it. And I put a cream bronzer on top just to be safe, because I was like, these bronzers just ain't working for people my skin tone. And the fact that they still ain't got the point to keep trying to make it be fetch, and it's not fetch. It's fetch isn't happening. Okay, Hourglass, you trying to slide out with this power's not being inclusive isn't happening anymore. Let me rephrase that, because they was allowing you to do it for years. Like and I spoke on it for years, so I'm not gonna pretend like I didn't. So these are the swatches. So again, remember, this is the unlocked palette from last year, and this is the one from this year, and so on and so forth. So the bronzer is like that much darker. The one thing I will say, they actually got a deep enough blush, and then the new highlighter doesn't look ashy and chalky like the original one does. But I had to build up this peach shade quite a bit for it to be where you see it. So just keep that in mind. As you can see, the powder from last year is quite ashy, but since it's more like a buffing powder, I guess I'm not too upset about that. But you know, this one has a little bit more beige leaning toward it, but it's still not my ideal type of powder for my skin tone, because I feel like on both parts of my hands it still looks somewhat ashy, so you still need to use a light hand with it. But this is what we're working with. So I'll go ahead and put this old palette down and get into this new one. So I forgot to bring a brush over here to bring finishing powder, so we'll get to that when we get to it. I like to start with bronzer, so we're gonna start with bronzer. Let me zoom you on in real quick. Okay, So I'll start with this cute little bronzer or whatever. And I have the ABH cream bronzer on this side of my face, and then I left this side plain just so we could see, because I feel like it's going to be help. So I was like, if it's going to be help, then, you know, we need to get it the help it needs. But at the same time, I still want you to see, like, you know, if you didn't have the help, what it's truly going to look like. So, why they have to catfish people and saturate the picture 40 times deeper than it actually is. So another thing I didn't like about this launch was the fact that the other palette that they launched originally, like the dark one after they had Clown for it, because Tina and Karen said it didn't run as deep as they thought it should. How they made sure you could only buy it on their website for right now. So it's like, if I want to try the deepest powder palette, I can't buy it from anybody else. I have to buy it from them, and I wasn't really liking that either. So that's one of my issues. So I have the bronzer on now. I feel like I don't see a difference like in my face at all. I feel like there might be just a little bit more of a sheen to my cheek, but I feel like without the cream bronzer, it didn't really do anything. But we're going to try it on this side just so you can see what I'm talking about. Because I personally don't see a difference. Do you see it? I don't see anything. It feels like I'm putting nothing on my face. I mean, I like the fact that it feels like I'm putting nothing on my face, but I still want to actually, you know, see something on my face. The fact that I don't see anything on my face and then it feels like I'm not putting nothing on my face is like, just, I'm not with it. Yeah, I don't see where I look like I bronzed my face anywhere other than the side that I put the ABH cream on before we started this tutorial. So let me know down below if you see it, because I'm not trying to be ass. I just legit don't see anything. That's why I'm asking you, do you see it, sis? Because I don't see it. So I want to start off with the coral blush on this side, and then I'll do the berry on this one, or maybe I'll just mix them together, because we clearly see that the berry wants to be dark enough. What I'm concerned about is this corally shimmery shade to see how it's about to run. Okay, it surprisingly turned out better than I thought it was going to, so I'm happy about that, because I was like skeptical about it, especially because it's swatched so ashy and disrespectfully, but it's actually showing up pretty nicely, so okay. So I built it up with a second coat, and this is what we're working with for that blush. So you can see it. It looks nice. Okay. Now we're going to take the berry one on this other side here and just... That one is definitely more pigmented, and I clearly am biased and just like berry tones better since they work better on my skin tone. But I feel like if I mixed in the corally one with this one, it would look nice. It's just you're going to have to build up the corally one a little bit more, obviously, because, you know, there's melanin. I feel like the coral one will look really nice on Karen, since Karen loves corals. Hopefully she picked up the deal and got this one, because I know she had bought the original one at Sephora. So I don't know if, you know, I'm just putting more coral on this side. Now there's a little bit of the berry tones already on the brush to see if it'll blend together nicely and work out better. Okay, yeah. So the blushes are nice and subtle and giving that shimmery effect. So I like that. Let's get into this highlighter now and see how it's working. Okay, so it's nice and metallic, but I believe it was called metallic strobe, so I'll fix that when I spray my face and we, you know, like do the finishing powder over it and whatnot, so I'm not concerned about it right now. I'm just gonna dust it on and go. And both the brushes I used when it came to these products are made by Mitchell, whereas the other bronzer brush I was using was a one from Jaclyn Hill and Morphe. Have y'all seen her new palette? Like, with Morphe, I'm like, girl, I don't want these bronzy tones. I'm not here for it. It's just not a vibe. I know Neon MUA said he wasn't mad at it, but I'm just like, it's not I'm mad at it. It's just, again, all these people with makeup brands keep doing stuff with Morphe. It's like, but I figure she just contractually obligated to do certain things with Morphe. And that's why, you know, she keeps doing stuff with Morphe. But like, that's when I'm definitely not gonna have any parts of. Like, no. I still collab with Morphe. Why don't you work on them sad excuses for bronzers you call yourself making for people that look like me because it wasn't cutting? Want to try that? Try that. Sorry, y'all. Let me hold my head up because I think I got the tripod up too high, so that's why you can't see what's going on there here in the chin. So let me just... Okay, so our face is pretty much done. We're going to go ahead and spray it. And then we're going to get into, what do you call it? Finishing powder. And then we get into my thoughts. Because, as usual, you know I have some. So, I have the All Nighter Ultra Glow Spray. I'm going to spray that on. And then we'll use some finishing powder. So, I haven't tried this before, just like a all over face powder. I usually just use it to let the powder sink into my skin and then go ahead and use that. But let's go ahead and put on our finishing powder. Okay, y'all, so I'm gonna get this large tapered brush from Urban Decay. Now let's get into this finishing powder now that we have sprayed my face completely. So I'll tap off some and you start dusting all around, because as you know, this is like the buffing technique I learned from the late and great Mel Thompson. If y'all do not know, Mel passed away about, I want to say, I found out yesterday, so Mel passed away on the 27th of September. And she will dearly, dearly be missed by the beauty community. She was one of my favorite YouTubers to watch. And I'm thinking about doing like a dedicated video to like all the stuff Mel maybe bought, and we could just, you know, have stories in the comment section below about our favorite looks from Mel and just our favorite things about Mel, because she was one to definitely remember. So we have the finishing powder now. So we have everything on our face. Let's go ahead and spray it off completely. I'm gonna just use this little bitty professional super setter spray that I got, and zoom you out and let's have a discussion. And then I put on some lipstick when I'm by myself. Okay, so my thoughts on this palette. It's better than I thought it was gonna be, to be quite honest. I still don't like the fact that the bronzer doesn't show up, because if that's the piece I'm paying for in this palette, it needs to show up on my skin, and it's not doing that. So my beef with them, as usual, is exclusivity when we feel like it, and not overall whole categories. Because how many years have you been making these bronzers? How many years have you been making these face palettes? How many years have you been making these powders and blushes that don't work for anyone other than, you know, Caucasian women? Let's just be real. So, I mean, I think it's nice that they finally came around, but I feel like it shouldn't have took huge influencers to get you just be inclusive like you saw plenty of other brands doing. So I'm not going to tell you necessarily buy it. And if I do, I'm going to tell you to wait till a sale. Don't be giving them your full price coins when they didn't want to include you for how many years these palettes been coming out. I don't even know, because I don't keep track, because when you don't include me, I don't worry about you. I give you the same as you giving me. And making these for 100 years and not include me means you not checking for me, so I shouldn't be checking for you. But the powder is nice. I like the fact that the blushes actually work for people my skin tone, because I feel like the only thing with the coral one is I feel like you're going to have to build it up a bit. But as you can see, it looks nice on the skin. The berry one looks nice on the skin. So the blushes are nice. The highlighter is nice. The finishing powder is just the finishing powder, so I figured it didn't matter. I got the one from NYX that works just fine, and it's like 10 bucks. So I could care less about the finishing powder. What I'm concerned about is the bronzer, the blushes, and the highlighter in here. So without this, I don't like the fact that this bronzer still doesn't work for me, and you know, we've expressed that concern. And like I said, you could make new things for your stands, but you couldn't make a bronzer work for the people that have been complaining about these palettes for 100 years. So I still don't like that, but at least it's a somewhat step in the right direction, I guess. That's the best you're gonna get from me, because y'all already know my thoughts. Anyway, if you want to know about quality, though, the quality is just fine. It's just as nice as the little bitty one I got for like 40 bucks. I think it was 40 bucks, might have been less than that, I don't remember. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this face palette. If you want it, the quality is nice. It's not like it's a bad product. Just make sure you use somebody else's bronzer, because for some reason, even though this is the year of bronzers people my skin tone, Hourglass didn't get the memo. They were so busy making customizable eyeshadows that cost you 30 bucks a pop. So they made it clear they don't know how to read the room. Anyway, the palette's fine if you want to buy it. That's just it. Yeah. I hope you all enjoyed this video. Remember, you all are diamonds. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Be blessed, girl. Bye.